I can be salty at Nintendo and Bethesda for ignoring me.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to another Winging It podcast. Andre, how you doing, man?
Yeah, I'm doing all right. Was just picked up. Bethesda, Nintendo. Why y'all ignoring me?
Yeah, well, why? Do inquiring minds want to know.
I mean, I know somebody from y'all follow me because there's these happenstances that they're unexplainable.
We gonna find out the truth. You might as well just go on and tell us. We're gonna find out. You don't want us to find out. You really don't. That would not be a good look for you. Just saying.
Mm.
But tonight, people, I was gonna do this whole thing and have some discussion, some great inbound discussions about the PS5 and the Xbox Series X and PC, and then I said the hell with it. So we just gonna randomly just talk tonight. I hope y'all don't mind. Personally, I wanted to talk about gaming stuff, but one thing that the Xbox Series X and the PS5 did not do was games.
No, not new games, but games that are going to be on the PS4 and the Xbox One.
Like I said, games. So we just gonna talk randomly about random stuff that's random. So,
Consistent.
so, well, one of the things that I was thinking about like earlier this week, outside of the price of tea in China, was the Hollywood gaming and how they love to do remakes and stuff. But we don't get the remakes that we need. The remakes from the 80s that make life so grand.
Mm.
I'm talking about The Last Dragon. Barry Gordy's The Last Dragon with the most
I'm
with, with the best villain of all times, Shogun,
so no.
the Shogun of Harlem.
I swear, I want that game to happen so badly. I want that to happen so badly. Just go ahead, do that as a full scale game. Make it play like Sleeping Dogs,
No,
and
no,
you don't even have to play with Bruce Leroy at all. You don't
yeah,
gotta play with him.
yeah.
You could be one of his little side understudies. I don't care. Just the story is
Just
just it's worth
it's
it.
perfect for video games, dude. So
It is the
now,
most cheesy kung fu action story I have ever witnessed
and it
to
still
this day.
holds up. And it's still like how most of these 80s movies are just the bad ones are just bad.
Yeah,
That one still kind of holds up. Like you still be like, dude, some of them fight scenes are still good.
the fight. I mean, yeah, the dialogue
Yeah. Oh,
and,
we're not talking about that.
and some of the stories they not worth it. But
Yeah. Yeah.
the fights were worth it.
Yeah. And
Especially when you see all them kids get the hell beat out of them because they think they're too big.
now the funny thing about it is, I always thought of that. If you was gonna put that in a game, I always thought that was gonna be Streets of Rage. That's all. I'm like, dude, that's Streets of Rage. Streets of Rage right there. I mean, hell, Show Enough looks like a Streets of Rage boss.
Yeah, he does. He damn sure does. He looked like the low budget bodyguard to Shiva.
Yeah. I was like, dude,
It's like he's a dude that thinks he's tougher than Shiva, but he's not.
he's really not. Yeah, but we have to give props, and we have to give our hard-earned respect to the fact that they did Super Saiyans and Kaioken before it was popular.
They really did.
They really did.
They really did. These dudes had transformations and auras before it was popular.
But yeah, like that's one thing I never understood why that didn't get a game, because that would have been perfect with side-scrolling beat 'em ups at the time.
I understand at the time why it didn't get a game. I don't understand why now it can't.
Yeah,
Because now there are so many examples of stuff that could work for it. Either you could use Sleeping Dogs, you could use Yakuza as a base for it,
or you
um,
could use Emu and just have them do it.
or yeah, and have them build up a new game from scratch for it.
Yeah,
I'm just saying, like examples of games that would fit for that type of style.
but we
There's
got to
the
keep it
game.
in the '80s. We got to keep it in the '80s. We
No,
have to
no, I'm
keep it
not
in the
talking
'80s.
about. I'm
That
not
that
talking about
'80s
changing.
punk. Yeah,
I'm not talking about changing the location or the timeline of the game. I'm just talking about what games
could work in it. Yeah,
could
but
work as an engine for it.
but you know, some people be like, no, we got to make this new and modern. Nah, no,
No, no,
no,
no, no. If you do
no.
that, you spoil it.
Yeah, no,
You, you
no,
would totally spoil it.
do not modern anything with this.
You
Just,
have to leave it the way it is.
just keep that 80s cheese, keep the 80s punk look. I know a couple of the actors unfortunately have passed on, but there's a lot of people
Just
who know how to do good voices. So
or if you really just want to leave it authentic, just take their voices out of the movie and just reuse them.
yeah,
Just do that.
basically,
And then for like little side characters that aren't important to the story, then have somebody record some lines.
yeah, like the members of Show Enough's gang that you just like, dude, what
Yeah,
the
the dudes that just showed up just to get punched in the face once and not get back up.
yeah, like, dude, what are you here for? What the hell are you here for?
Like especially that one dude with the nunchucks and the headband
Yeah,
that did all the showing off just to get hit once.
hit one. And then, but you do have to have that one kid in there, that Ernie Reyes, because Ernie Reyes, he showed out that last fight of that movie,
They
at the
did.
climactic fight sequence in the club, which, yeah, the whole club thing was
That
weird.
made no sense, but I mean,
Yeah, hey, it was the '80s. We went with it.
but yeah, he did show us behind. He was like, "Hold up, I've been getting beat up all this time. At some point, I gotta get my." He got his man.
it's it's kind of like his dad was behind the camera, like, okay, when y'all gonna let him whoop ass? I done told him that. I told him that he ain't got to show out. When y'all gonna let him beat the hell out of everybody? So we're gonna put him in at the end. All right, fine. As long as he, because I'm telling y'all, if y'all don't make me, all right.
He's like, you see this cult, right? You see this cult, right? He don't get his scene. You gonna get your scene.
Basically.
The crime scene.
Now the other one that I always thought of that I thought would be cool. I know this movie sucked, so don't give me grief about it. It's one of my it's one of my guilty pleasures. All right, American Ninja, the first one, the first one, the first one. Look, I know it's a bad movie. I know it is. I know it's horrible. I shouldn't like it, but for some reason I do. I just shouldn't like it.
It has its own weird charm.
It's a
I'm
guilty
trying.
it's a guilty pleasure movie for me, man. It's just a guilty pleasure movie for me. Everybody got one. Mine just happens to be American Ninja, complete with the afro having Steve James. Yeah, Black Rambo.
I,
Black Rambo.
I'm gonna. I'm not gonna say nothing to that.
Am I
I'm
lying?
gonna leave that one.
Am I
I'm gonna
lying?
leave that one alone.
Am
I
I
ain't,
lying?
look.
Am
I
I
have.
lying?
I ain't got
Am I
nothing.
lying about him being
I
Black
have
Rambo
nothing
in the movies? In them movies,
against
that
that
American
one.
Ninja series, am I lying for saying he was Black Rambo?
No, no, you're not.
Thank
I'm
you.
just. I'm like. I ain't got nothing to say to that one. Nothing. It would. It actually probably would make a fun game.
Yeah. See. Now this one,
It's
I was
because the
thinking,
cheesiest movies would be very fun to make and play.
yeah.
Is a game.
I mean, how many times have I said, like, dude, if any of those games from the '80s should have been made into a movie, it was Contra. Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sylvester Stallone should have done Contra.
Yeah, they should have. That was. I'm pretty sure that was the whole kick to that was to have them be those characters, but they never
They never.
got the chance to do it.
So I mean, just picture Predator, except with Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sylvester Stallone killing everything,
Mm-hmm.
and a bunch of different aliens, not just one 7 foot tall black dude from Africa. If y'all don't know
and,
anything
and
about that, the guy who actually was in the suit of the Predator, he was a black dude. But yeah, so
the random military soldiers that run out and get shot up every once in a
for no
while.
reason.
They think they going the one dude, the grunt, that think he going to do something.
Don't worry, man.
He
I'm doing this for America. Bam! Yeah, that's
the second he round that corner, bullet that hit
bam.
him and he gone.
Or it's a giant space wolf that just comes and takes his head off. Whichever
Or
comes first.
or or the ones that run out into the bomb.
Oh yeah.
It just perfectly ran out into the bomb and get blown up for no reason because they was stupid.
And that one character just happens to be Sylvester Stallone's friend.
Yeah, he just happened to be his best friend.
Yeah, like what the hell? That came out of nowhere.
Like, how could you? How could y'all do this? I'm gonna kill all of you.
Gotta get that headband, tie that headband tight. Pull out that one knife that is a multi-purpose everything. The knife is a chainsaw, a laser blade, a gun.
That one knife that carried him through the whole movie.
Yeah, an arrow. He's like, what the hell? Dude, I'm telling you, man, we making history tonight, man. We giving people game ideas. Kind of like
funny.
you.
That would be funny. Oh man, I do it all the time.
So
I do it all the time.
Nintendo, Sony, Microsoft, EA, Ubisoft. What's up? What's up? We giving y'all ideas. What's up?
Oh, EA ain't gonna like me. They ain't gonna like me when I do my video on Mass Effect and Andromeda.
EA don't like themselves right now, so.
Oh yeah, that's true. That might be my way in. Because looking at Mass Effect and Andromeda, that game starts off so horribly slow. It drags so bad until you make it past like your after it ends up to a lot of fun. And then the character dialogue actually becomes better. Some of the story bits become better. And it's just like, how the hell did y'all have all this good shit here? All of this. But you got all of this right here. It's like a slog to get through. That's what makes me wonder how the hell somebody can play Death Stranding for 10 hours with no pickup. I could do it.
We're not gonna get into Death Stranding tonight and Jeff Keighley's denial. We're not gonna get into that tonight. I mean,
I'm not going there. I'm just saying that it's like the first like 5 or 6 consistent hours of that game are garbage. It's garbage for Mass Effect Andromeda. But after that, it actually becomes good. It's the weirdest shit.
And weird. The sad thing about it is your first 5 or 6 hours of your game, especially in an action adventure game or RPG game, you need to like not be trash. Because that's how you get people invested to keep playing.
Yeah, you get invested in the characters. Like, I didn't get invested in those characters until like my 8th or 9th hour into that game.
That's not good. Not for no RPG. That's just not good. Like,
I started to see what they were trying to do, which is what kept me going. But that's because I think more like a game developer than most of the people playing games.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm looking like, and then I'm sitting here like, there's so much stuff that could have been fixed in these few hours that would have made it more enjoyable. And that's when I do that video, and that's going to be next week when that drops, because I have to take my time and actually talk it all out.
That makes sense.
Because there are story bits that they could fix, not necessarily fix, but change, that will make the story better, that will make the overall flow of that game have been better. And if I was the one in charge of it, those are the things that would have happened. I can tell you that right now, guaranteed that those things would have happened.
Well, didn't they lose their writer though? Like early on, didn't they lose the writer?
I have a feeling they did. Either they lost the writer or something, or maybe they started on it and they had already worked on the latter half of the game, and then whoever picked up to do whoever took the writing from hours 1 to 9 did not do a good job. Whoever wrote it after that, or they might have come up with the conclusion before they filled the rest of the story out, because that's a common thing.
Mm.
And they just never got to do that introductory section in the beginning of the game. And if that's the case, I understand why it drags the way it does. But I was like, man, there's no reason that this game should feel this. It shouldn't feel this weighted down to play this game when your character can do like 10 or 12 more things than Shepard could do in Mass Effect 1 through 3.
Oh, that's embarrassing.
It is embarrassing. Your character can do more than the previous character could, but the game just doesn't feel as good. And that
That's actually
aside,
that's
that
sucky.
aside, yeah, it's weird. It's weird. Like, but that aside from the fact that almost all of the characters have no emotion on the top half of their face,
Dude, let's not talk about the Botox industry.
and then the different character races, almost all of the Asari look exactly alike. Almost all of the Krogan males look alike. Almost all the Krogan females look alike. Almost all of the Turian women look alike. Almost all the Turian men look alike. They used too many. They used like a couple generic models and didn't expand it past that. They should have done like 5 or 6 different models for each race and done something from there. But the kicker is that toward the end of the game, and this even applies to the human characters. But the kicker is toward the end of the game, after you actually finish the final mission, you see several unique looking characters that are outside of your main crew.
I'm sorry. Did you just tell me that they fifth gened this?
All the fucking way. All the way. And there's no excuse. Because you could play Mass Effect 1 through 3 and see a variety of different
Yeah,
characters,
yeah,
even
that's
if they
true.
are of the
That's true.
same race. Even if they are of the same race,
They look
most characters
different.
distinctly look different. And I mean, I get it for the NPCs that you don't interact with. That's fine, but the ones that you do interact with, that's a problem.
Facts, facts. Okay. That's
So that's why I'm like, yeah, there's a lot that could have been fixed here. Like in the character models for the original games were better.
huh.
These are higher quality models,
But
but the
they're
other models were better designed.
like they got to get in touch with their art department.
Like when the only key difference between two characters of the same race is that maybe one has face paint here and the other doesn't is a oh hold on, did my camera stop?
For a little bit.
Okay. So it's like if it's like one character has a little bit of face paint smeared on the right side of their face and the other doesn't, that's like the only difference in their voices. Like almost like like how the Asari are all different shades of colors,
Yeah,
have different
yeah.
complexions, and the Turians had different complexions and shades. The Krogan had different complexions and shades. The Quarians had different complexions and shades. That was a non-existent thing in here. I think the humans were the only race that maybe had different skin tones.
I'm not gonna say anything about that. I'm not gonna say anything
That's
about
that's
that.
a problem.
Yeah, that's a big problem, especially when Perfect Dark has way more variety than that than
Yeah,
what you're
and it's
describing.
an N64 game. I don't care
Yeah,
if it's on Xbox Live. It's still
yeah.
an N64 game.
And then we're talking about like, well, then again, let's be honest. That Rareware team was freaking years beyond what a
Yeah,
lot of
they were
people are now.
definitely.
So I mean, that's just a statement of fact. I hate to have to be like that. No, I don't hate to have to be like that. It's the damn truth.
It's the
So
truth.
it's the truth. That the Stamper Brothers they were the shit.
Yeah, they definitely were.
I
It
mean,
is just like, but those are the minor problems with this game. That's the minor stuff. So I'm not going to deep dive into it because that's a long talk. That's why I have to do that. That's why I have to do
yeah,
my video
that's
as to what I would have done with some of this. This one was like it's just so poorly done. Like from the from aesthetics, definitely it was poorly done, and they may have even rushed a lot of that together. But yeah, I'm not. No, nope.
that's just freaking embarrassing, man.
It's
So
too much.
that's
There's only one Asari character in that game that looks different from all the other Asari, and that's the one that accompanies you on missions. The only one.
only okay. All right, that's
She's
weird.
literally the only one that looks different from anyone else in that game.
Some people. And it's supposed to be, man. Well, what can I say? It's EA. I'm not surprised. I'm just
If
not
if
gonna.
if
I'm not gonna
Bioware
pretend like I'm
was
surprised.
if Bioware was given like another year and they could fix some of the issues that game had, it would have come out fine.
If Ray Mizuka and the other guy didn't leave, it probably would have
Yeah,
came out fine.
that's also true.
I mean,
That's also true.
them leaving, I think that had a major impact, and that's because
Yeah,
they pretty much got, from what I could understand, they pretty much in from the way it seems. I'm not gonna say with certainty because I don't know, but from the way it seems, it looked like they kind of lost a little bit of control over their properties, and that's why
they got
like
mad.
they got mad and left. So
But
I
that's
mean,
the thing. I'm like, why are you gonna buy a company
and
and
not let
then
them.
mitigate what they're doing when you bought them for what they were doing?
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. And the other thing that I kind of find to be hilariously funny is how come when because I always got mad at the fact that Nintendo never bought Rare, but they had the competition with each other. Nintendo never tried to make them do what they did.
No, like they never really did. Like Nintendo competed with Rare and kept them
Yeah,
on the payroll.
yeah, which made no sense. But we got like three awesome games. We got like five awesome games out of it. So a little healthy competition never hurts. But I'm just sitting there like, yeah, yeah, EA, y'all on that, y'all on what we in the black community like to call that bullshit.
You know the bad thing is the fucked up thing is I feel like if Microsoft would have bought BioWare and made them exclusive to them at the time, instead of letting EA get them,
Yeah,
those games would have come out better.
yeah. 'Cause I think Microsoft would have just let them do what they needed to do.
Yeah, they would just let them
E-
be.
Even with Matrick being the
Idiot.
the
What
great
is this?
the great and powerful Oz that he was. Even with him acting the fool, I think they still would have just let them do what they do.
It's
Honestly,
that like that's the weirdest thing to say that because I feel like EA kind of ran them into the ground.
yeah,
I do
yeah.
like part of me does wish that Microsoft would have laid down the hammer and bought them and made Mass Effect exclusive to them.
Which always kind of like weirded me out. I'm like, they were so busy buying everybody else, and you ain't buy the people that was doing stuff for you anyway.
If I was the one in charge at that time, I'd be like, okay, they already made the first Mass Effect. It came out to great acclaim.
They made, well, remember
They made Star Wars games for
they,
us.
they
They
made
made
Jade
Jade
Empire.
Empire for
I'm
us.
like,
They've done other stuff that has been successful. If we keep on track with them, we'll be good.
yeah, at least we'll have our own exclusive people.
Yeah,
I mean, like, look, I know why Nintendo sold let Rareware get bought. They could not afford it. They were a small Nintendo only did games. That's all they did outside of the Love Hotels. We're not gonna talk about that right now. But that's all they did. So I can understand with Rareware being like, look, man, they gave us a blank check.
and I
I
was
can
like, okay,
understand. Yeah.
look, no
So
hard feelings.
yeah, because Nintendo couldn't compete with that. Because all Microsoft was gonna do was, oh, that's how much the counter offer was, up that by 300 million. Like,
That's exactly what would have happened.
so I can understand it, but for Microsoft, there's no excuse. You're like, dude, they've already made stuff for you.
Exclusive to your platform.
Yeah, yeah, exclusive to your brand, and you still didn't buy them. Okay, all right, okay, that's
But hey,
dumb,
it's
but all
also
right.
Stafford Brothers regretting taking that check though.
Yeah, they did. Well, they didn't do nothing with them. If they was gonna do something and let them do what they do, I think they wouldn't have. I think it would have been better for all parties. But I'm like, dude, the mere fact that we never got a true sequel to Perfect Dark, I'm not counting Perfect Dark Zero.
That's
The
not
fact,
that's not even. I don't even could look. You can't
yeah,
even
that's
put Perfect Dark Zero in the same continuity as Perfect Dark.
you really
You
can't.
can't because they don't make sense.
Yeah,
It's like
it's story wise
she went from being this American teenager to this British super spy.
with red hair and highlights.
She went from red hair and highlights to just a brunette.
With an Anita Baker fade.
Now, It don't make
Yeah,
sense.
it don't make no sense.
And she's basically mixed race because her daddy was black. So I'm like,
When did this happen?
this character don't match this character.
This sounds like Lost in Space season 1, available on Netflix.
It just they did like there were inconsistencies.
Yeah.
And I think it was mostly because Microsoft was overzealous on having all these IPs. They didn't know what the hell to do with them.
Yeah,
But
because
what they should have done, just let the company make the games they make.
we should be on Killer Instinct 5, Jet Force Gemini 4. Like we should
Should
be
be sitting there like Perfect Dark 4 or 5.
yeah, we should be on Conker's Bad Fur Day 3 at least, by the very least. You know,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, because you could have turned Conker's Bad Fur Day into your personal GTA
And with Conker
and made
being
it comical.
The way he is, they could have made a kart racer with him.
Mm-hmm. When they released the Rare's replay, I'm like, y'all are so stupid for releasing this. Because all this is going to do is the gamers that know going to be like, y'all had all this and you ain't do jack with it.
Nothing.
Y'all relegated that team to making avatars. Wow, y'all stupid. Like, that's basically what it would have been, dude. Like Jet Force Gemini, like people, because I remember people asking me, friends of mine asked me, like, look, man, I got this Xbox, I got it for me, but the wife want to have games for the kids. I'm like, man, I don't know what to get. I'm like, bro, that console ain't made for that. But if they would have used some of them titles that they have, I'm like, yeah, dude, you could have got Jet Force Gemini, you could have got, Jetpack, you could have got Battletoads, you would have had stuff that
they had so much stuff.
But they
like in the whole premise of Conker's Bad Fur Day 2 could have literally been Conker trying to save Barry, trying to get back to that room that he got to at the end of the game that he realized afterwards. He's like, oh shit, I could have brought her back. That could have been his whole mission for the game. They literally lined it up for that, where he was pissed off because he didn't do it and he realized he had the chance
to do it.
But he was so caught up in what he was already trying to do, he forgot. Because the whole point of what he was trying to do was to get revenge for what happened to her. He could have saved her.
Yeah. And you got to remember the fact that he was consistently drunk.
And he was consistently drunk in that game,
yeah.
But they had stuff built up to it. Perfect Dark, you had her sister Velvet, who is literally supposed to be her sister.
Yeah.
Who's just as skilled as she is. They could have done a whole game off her.
And remember, Elvis was supposed to come back.
Yeah, Elvis was supposed to come back. That's again why Perfect Dark Zero just can't fit in with it, because you could theoretically say lead up to Perfect Dark Zero happens, but it's almost like a completely different universe.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean nothing.
Or like a different version of the same universe, kind of like Marvel and DC have multiple iterations of the universe.
Well, the problem is
be fine.
The other problem too is like the lore doesn't match up in Perfect Dark. Perfect Dark lore just does not match up with Zero. Don't. So I don't know who thought that was a good idea, and maybe what they probably should have did, since they already had Halo and that was their first person shooter, what they probably should have did was like, okay, let's make this. We'll keep Perfect Dark, but we'll make it our third-person shooter.
Yeah.
Because they still would have been able to have Gears of War, because Gears of War would have been a cover shooter. Perfect Dark just would have been a regular action shooter.
Yeah, they could have done that.
Yeah. So I mean,
or if they wanted to get really creative, they could have. It would be a bit of a stretch. But if they wanted to get really creative, they could have said that Perfect Dark is in the same universe as Halo, but it comes before it.
Yeah. You say it comes about 200 years before or something like that?
Well, no, I'd say Halo's timeline, I think it's in the 3000s, maybe.
Well, it starts out in 25 something.
Okay, so yeah, so you maybe 400 or 500 years before, which would explain how Earth got the technology to get into space.
Yeah. They could have made it make sense. I mean, there was ways to make that make sense. In all actuality, people, what we're trying to say is, Microsoft, you messed up with Rare. That's basically what we're trying to say. You messed up.
It's like they bought the golden goose
and
got the eggs, and didn't know how to sell
at all.
them. That was it.
Now, I know some people say, well, that's because of management at the time. I agree. I believe that
Yeah,
because I
it was
think
definitely management.
if Phil Spencer was in charge back then,
A lot of
I
this
think,
was happening.
yeah, yeah. Because I still say, if I'm Phil Spencer, we still got the rights to this stuff. So, hey, do a Jet Force Gemini. Do
Look,
a
that would be one of the things I'd be focusing on. I'm like, look, let's go back and have our teams replay these games and see what about the games,
yeah, what
and
we can do.
then make sequels off of them.
Yeah,
See what we can do to update some of the controls for some of these games because playing them on Xbox One is garbage.
yeah, with them
Like,
Xbox One controllers, yeah.
you need an N64 controller
Wha-
for those games.
You know what? I'm glad you said that because I've been seeing stuff being written about like, well, Nintendo need to bring their stuff to PC. I done said it before and I will say it again. Nintendo games work for the console generation they're out on. They don't
Yeah,
work for nothing else. I'm like,
they really don't.
you're lucky Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask worked on 3DS and GameCube. And it still don't feel right. Even with the GameCube, it don't feel
It
right.
doesn't feel the same because you're
You're
using the
trying to go
C
for Z
stick.
targeting
It's
and you can't.
it's it's not the same thing. It just does not. It doesn't play the same way.
Yeah. So when you play like these games, that's one of the reasons why I love and hate Rare Replay because I'm like, dude, that twin stick shit don't work with freaking Dark. Like I'm like I'm trying to do something like I can't do what I want to do because I don't
Because
have.
the game wasn't designed that way.
Yeah.
And they didn't redo the controls so it would work that way, and that's the biggest problem.
Yeah.
Same thing with Jet Force Gemini. The controls weren't redone. You can
They just mapped them. They just mapped the
change it.
buttons together. Yeah.
You can change it a little bit and play it some, but it's not the same. It doesn't feel the same. Like now, if they had a thing where they worked with Nintendo and said, "Okay, look, we'll work with y'all. We're putting this out, and we're going to be using some of these games to run. What we'd like to do is partner with you to get a specially made USB multi-port for the Xbox One to use N64 controllers. We'll have the port for the system. We'll make money from that, and you can resell your N64 controllers."
Basically, yeah. Kind of like what they did with GameCube controllers on the Switch and Wii U. Still mad that we don't have no GameCube Virtual Console, but that's neither here nor there. So, but yeah,
Look, if you want GameCube Virtual Console, you need a Wii U and you need to hack it.
no, you
That's as
just no,
close
you
as you
all
get.
you need is a laptop, a Manila folder, and the heads of all of Nintendo in 30 minutes. That's a joke, people. That's a joke. That is a joke. Don't that's a joke. But
Yeah, you gotta say that before Nintendo come after you.
yeah, I know. That is a
Like,
joke, people. I don't need the Yakuza showing up. So, but yeah, I've always like I've never understood why people are like so and like yes, you can play on something. No, it wouldn't feel right. And Rare Replay is a perfect example. If you play,
here's the reason.
it's a perfect
Here's the
example.
very reason. Here's the very reason it doesn't work. Because Nintendo specializes their hardware. If they didn't specialize their hardware and they made their games with generic play styles, it would work. But then their games wouldn't be what they are. They
Ain't
wouldn't be
nobody would buy them.
They wouldn't be as special to people as they are.
Yeah,
That's why their games work the way they do. You can emulate their stuff on a PC, but anything past Super Nintendo, it, it's not going to work well with this controller.
it's not.
Hold on one second. Why are you over there dancing?
What?
But no, it's like this just does not work for N64 games. And this is what majority of people will be playing on PC with if they're going to be using a controller or a PS4 controller, which isn't too different,
Yeah,
or even a Nintendo Switch controller, which again, not too different. The control scheme is not the same. It's not going to work the same. The games have to be redesigned from that point, that point of reference.
Yeah, and yeah, that's in
That's
other
why
words,
while I like Rare Replay, it's also a pain in the ass.
yeah, it's well, certain games on there, like I can
Certain
still
games
play.
are fine.
I can play Perfect Dark because they redid it for Xbox Live, but and I
Yeah.
can replay like I can play like what's the other one they did that I could actually play? I can play a little bit of Killer Instinct games, but other than that, there's a lot of games on there I can't play because they
Well, and yeah,
just
you can play Battletoads, but
yeah
anything
other
that's any of the 2D games you can play,
yeah
you can
but
serviceably play Perfect Dark.
the N64 games. I love
And
Conker's
and,
Bad Fur Day,
and
but
I'm
I'm
like,
like, geez, dude, that
but even
and
worse,
Jet Force,
but even worse is that they use the 64 version of Conker's Bad Fur Day instead of the Xbox version of the game.
which one you think is better?
They could look. All they had to do was take the censoring out the Xbox one, and it would have been
which
fine.
which let's to be completely honest, people get mad and say, Nintendo's a kiddie console, but wait a minute, Microsoft censored? Yeah, they did.
I mean, it's the
Microsoft
same
censored it.
thing. It's the same thing happening with games that are on the Switch and the PS4 right now, where the ones that don't go to Xbox,
Yeah,
where the games that are on the Switch, those versions are uncensored.
censored.
But then people get mad at some of the games like it happens. There's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah, I mean,
They do it based on what the ESRB wants, and that's
hmm
the truth. They do it based on what the ESRB wants, and it changes very depending on the game.
yeah.
Now
And how much
that's
money
all
did
it is.
ESRB get under the
Yeah,
table?
yeah, that's it. Like, but at the same time, I'm not sitting there going to be mad. I'm not going to be mad at them because they had to censor it for a different region because different regions
Have
react
different.
differently to different things.
Oh man, yeah. Oh boy, yeah. Because
The only problem I ever come up with is when dialogue is changed and intentionally changed to be different from the context it was supposed to be. That's only ever problem I have.
yeah, yeah.
If the
Because
context is the same, fine. I'm fine. Like, because not every word matches up. If context is the same, cool. Like, but when they change the complete meaning and context of it, I don't care what your personal feelings are, Treehouse members. I don't care what your personal. You leave the dialogue the same, like as close to what it could be as possible, because it's not your story. You're not the writer. It's not your work. You're just
really,
editing it for a different audience.
and you're
But you,
supposed to be like translating it so we can understand it.
yeah,
That's supposed to be what is happening, but that for some reason never seems to happen. And I completely understand with the whole treehouse thing because that's
I understand why that upset a lot of
problematic.
people. I
Yeah,
understand.
it's problematic because then you put your own agenda in, and we've had discussions about people pushing agendas, but that's usually how that goes down.
The problem is that they're putting their personal feelings into it, but a story has a purpose. Like just like you can't just tell all the positive stories, you have to tell the negative ones too.
Yeah.
And people are like, well, that's going to make someone feel bad.
So
Fuck it. That's the
yeah.
purpose. The purpose is to the negative stories like that is to push realization of certain things that happen with people.
Oh, and that was never expressed as well as it was in 2019 was a couple of anime shows, Goblin
Like
Slayer and
I was saying,
Rise of
Rise of
the
the
Shield
Shield Hero.
Hero. Boy, so many people got mad at that first episode, but if you kept watching, if you just kept watching, the story made sense.
Yeah.
And people who was mad because, and let me just go on and break it down for you. Dude got accused of sexual assault. He did not do it. Nobody believed him. And the way they set it up, there was characters that signify every major problem with a story like that. The White Knight who believes the woman completely, regardless of how evil she is, right in front of him. The guy who really didn't do nothing was trying to be a good dude, didn't do anything, and just got railroaded. And the
Mm-hmm.
two idiots supposed to be smarter than everybody, but so damn arrogant that they can't realize that they being played too.
Yep.
But all of that, if you if you got past that first episode, if you got past like the 5th or the 6th episode, you'd be like, "Hey man, stuff ain't right, man." But you like, because they never showed you what really happened that night until like episode 21.
Yeah.
Like he ain't do nothing.
Like he was
He went
just
back in
being
his
a
room and
hero.
went to sleep. Yeah, he went back in his room and went to sleep. She the one that lied. And boy, people
Basically,
was
she didn't get what she
pissed.
wanted, so she made something up to put him down.
Yeah. And people were pissed, but I'm like, dude, this is like there are
It's
yeah, it's happened. Like there has been situations where unfortunately a individual has lied about that action and nothing has happened
to the
to
liar.
yeah, nothing has happened. Like there has been reports of this. There's been you have seen it, but people got mad, and I'm like, did you watch the whole season though?
No, they just watched the
They
first
watched that
episode.
one
Once they saw
episode.
that, they got mad.
Then Goblin Slayer, look, Goblin Slayer, that first episode before because I think they went and changed it after the blowback when it hit the states. But if you watch it that opening week, there is a rape that happens, and it's pretty graphic.
But
but
it's meant to be.
but it's meant to be because the thing is, if you watch episode 1, you need to watch episode 2 and 3 because episode 2 and 3, the other heroes in this world say that goblins ain't nothing. They weak. Why would we go after that? I ain't finna go after that. They weaklings. You as the viewer know that's not true because of what
Well,
happened in
no,
episode.
it's true for the heroes, but it's not true for everybody else.
Yeah, but I mean, like in the view, but as a viewer, you know, in episode 1, those dudes they have no idea what would happen if this if they are left alone, which is why you actually come to respect the actual Goblin Slayer character. But people saw the first episode, got triggered, so much so to the point where they had to put a disclaimer on the damn episode talking about this was so scenes that may trigger. I forgot what the actual disclaimer said, but it was kind of like basically paraphrasing. Um, this this anime contains scenes that may trigger an emotional response. That's what the disclaimer they put on there. But if you watch the full series, you're like, because they never showed another graphic rape again. They only showed it that
No, they
one.
only needed it the one time.
But and then they showed, I think it's like episode 11, what would happen if you leave goblins around. They become a horde runs over, and you get a lot more people getting hurt like that. So it was actually a good series, but people didn't get past the first. If you got past the first episode, you saw that. If you didn't, you were just triggered, which is what happened with those are two of my favorite animes from last year. I can't wait to both of them come back because yes, they got renewed in your face. So they pretty much
But
got renewed.
it's just like people. What the bad thing is, stories like this have existed. Like those have existed for a long time.
Yeah.
So like this, that's one of the reasons book burnings happen because they didn't want certain stories getting out.
Yeah.
So all people are doing now is the equivalent of book burnings.
Yeah. Basically, this doesn't fit my agenda,
So it's got to be destroyed.
It has to be destroyed. But if you say something about their specific agenda, they get mad at you for saying that. How dare you? I'm trying to do this, this, and this to make stuff better. But you're like, are you really trying to make stuff better? Because
or you just trying to make it better for you.
Yeah. I'm like,
it's a short-sighted nature. It's like I see these things and I want to change these things, but I don't look at what's going to change following that.
Yep. Just saying.
I'm not looking at the whole picture. I'm just looking at what I see in front of me, and I'm reacting to what I see in front of me. But not thinking like, okay, once I accomplish this, like like the New Warriors, once I accomplish this,
we're not getting on
what's going to be the problem afterwards? What's going to follow up behind what I did? What's going to follow up what I started? There's nobody thinking that.
You know what? The hell with that. We go into that.
Oh no. I know the bad thing is I saw all those characters. I see what their powers are. I know how to make better origin stories for each one of them and make their powers better. You want me to go through that real quick?
The floor is yours.
Trailblazer, girl with the magical backpack, which is basically a magic satchel.
Yeah.
All right. She can just pull stuff out of it. There's no rhyme or reason to it. She just gets random things out of it, and it's infinite. Problem is that
Needs to
it's
be
random.
paired up with Deadpool. Needs to be paired up with Deadpool. But
She basically is Deadpool.
yeah,
She's a low budget Deadpool. If I know somebody's gonna get mad at that, but that's the
but
truth.
true.
She's a low budget Deadpool. She has one of his best assets, but none of the other stuff that makes him a great character.
Yeah,
Okay,
comedy basically.
here's how you fix what she's able to do. Make it so that whatever she needs at that very point in time, she can pull out that bag. Whatever she needs to accomplish her goal at that very point in time, she pulls out of that bag. That would make her one of the most powerful characters in Marvel at that.
Yeah.
And it shows that she has to have a learning curve. So she has to be able to think about what she needs in the moment and be able to take it out that bag. So it would rely on her intelligence.
Imagine old boy from Dungeons and Dragons, the cartoon.
Yeah.
Him.
Like have it so that
a better version.
Yeah. She gets what she needs out the bag. Or kind of how like when Ben 10 started and he thought he needed one alien for a situation, but the Omnitrix would give him the one he actually needed.
Yeah.
That's how they could do it. Where her bag will give her what she needs in the moment, and she might complain about it, but then ends up finding out that was what she needed. And as she does it, she starts to grow to understand what that bag is capable of.
Okay.
That's how you fix her.
Okay.
What's his name? Screen time.
Mm-hmm.
The magic internet gas.
I'm waiting to hear. I'm waiting to hear this explanation.
I don't know how they thought that made sense when you have VR headsets. He could have been logged into a game, playing in a VR game, and he was on it. And a storm struck. Lightning struck, blew all his systems. He got shocked, and part of what he got shocked with incorporated itself into him. That would fully explain his powers rather than some weird internet gas. I was like, who the hell thought this up? This makes no sense. I don't care what world
you don't like internet gas, dude?
If they want to say something like that, they might as well should have said he has nanomachines in his body. The cloud of gas was nanomachines.
The nanomachine. The nanomachine.
That would make more sense if you're going to go with this stupid gas cloud. Nanomachines.
Good point.
B negative, who is basically a low budget freaking Morpheus. All you have,
boy, yeah.
Honestly, he's not the word. He's not the one that really needs to be fixed, other than maybe his name. But I get it's supposed to be a pun on the blood type and having a bad attitude. Okay, if his name is B negative and it's supposed to represent him having a bad attitude, make him actually the most positive character out of the group. Even though he looks the most horrific, make him the most positive character out the group. Make him the stand-up character. I'd even go as far as say even though Trailblazer would be the one with the better power set, I say make him the leader of the group. Put him in charge. Okay. Now, Snowflake is safe space.
Dude, don't.
I can fix the bad thing. I can come up with something that fixes this. I can fix their powers.
You can't fix nothing else though.
I can't fix the rest of it. I don't really care that they're non-binary. That's a whole thing to be dealt with. That's not my purpose here. But Snowflake's power could be that she can freeze bodies of water, but she has to be near one. She can freeze and control bodies.
So basically make her like Frost from Mortal Kombat, basically.
Yeah. But she can't just make it. So like she's like Pyro.
Like Pyro,
he can control fire, but he can't make it. So she can be near a body of water and she can transform it into ice or whatever ice sculptures or whatever she wants. And she just happens to prefer to create the snowflake shurikens that she can throw that are razor sharp. Makes a lot more sense than what they're using her for.
Yeah, it really does. I'm looking at it right now. I'm like, yeah, this is bull. So yes.
Safe space. The way his power works is stupid. Because if he's ever in a situation where he's not protecting someone else, he's vulnerable. And can very easily...
Dead.
He's dead. So here's what you do. Allow him to be able to use those force fields no matter what, but also give him the ability to teleport with it. So he has to activate his force fields in order to use them to teleport people from place to place. Save space. How fucking difficult was that to figure out?
Yeah. And to be honest, I hate the character designs on
Yeah,
all of them.
the
I hate
design
the character designs.
designs are not great. The designs are not great.
They are
But
not great.
I'm
So
like, I'm not a comic book writer. How the fuck did I make a better uses for your characters than you?
because you're not okay, people. I'm gonna state my opinion. If you get mad, that's on you because you're not pushing an agenda. You're just
Yeah,
trying to
point.
you're trying to figure out the characters themselves. You're not trying to push an agenda. This is clearly trying to push an agenda. I don't know why, but I don't know why. I really don't know
Do
why.
you even know? Do you know the reason that the writer for the new Warriors, he said he didn't really get into the new Warriors before with the original set. You want to know why he didn't?
Why?
Because the characters were too cool.
Oh, so this ain't gonna sell. All right, cool. All right,
No, it's not.
this is gonna be going
But but hey,
after
but
four
hey,
issues.
Marvel. If you want someone to fix these characters, I'm up for hiring.
I mean, because the new Warriors, to be honest, the new Warriors books, especially like in the '90s when I started reading, they were okay. They weren't like groundbreaking by any stretch of the imagination. Because back in the '90s, was nothing beat X Men, but
God.
but like they had their own kind
They
of
had their
charm and
own
carved
thing
out
going.
their own little niche.
Yeah.
But this ain't it. This
And
just ain't it.
it's like I get what they were
They're trying
trying to
too
do.
hard. They're trying too hard.
Yeah, they are trying way too
They're
hard.
trying too hard.
And like nobody likes this. Not
Yeah.
even the people that they made it for.
Yeah, the people
That's
that
what
that's the real telling story of this is the fact that the people that they've done this for are like, this is stupid
hate it. They hate it.
because it's stupid.
Again, I just in the last few minutes came up with better workarounds for these characters. How the fuck did they not? And on top of that, Snowflake and Safe Space are twins. So
Yeah,
yeah, you want them. You know that they're going to be psychically linked. So and make it so that Safe Space can always get to Snowflake when she's in a lot of danger, or
that would
they
make
are in a
sense.
lot of
Yeah,
danger.
that would
So
make
like
sense.
that link, they can call out to each other if they need each other.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because
But yeah,
I just upgraded Boy's power set to allow him to be able to teleport with his barriers.
yeah,
So
makes sense.
this is like there's so much that they could have done with these characters, and this is like,
I
oh
think
boy, I'm gonna run an agenda and not think about what I'm doing.
I think the main problem is they're trying to push the agenda without thinking about the story. If you think about the story and let it come naturally, you ain't got to push no agenda.
Oh,
If
because
you let the story run organically, nobody's doing that.
nope, they're trying to come up with we need to, and this is why I don't like representation for the sake of representation.
Presentation, yeah.
If you want to represent somebody, you know the fucked up thing is the best way to get that type of representation is to have those people work on that stuff.
Yeah, but they don't do that. They don't do that.
You not have somebody who's trying to tell their story for them.
Yeah, but that's too much. Like, right? I mean, I'll give a perfect example. When the new 52 dropped in DC, um, Static Shock came out. That comic sucked. And then I saw who
Static had a really good comic before then.
before then, yeah, it was one of the better ones in pre New 52 DC, in my opinion. Because then they moved him to Teen Titans. He's a character on Teen Titans, and I'm like, dude, thank you for incorporating, your boy. Much love. Now let's get him in these movies. That ain't gonna happen. But but I'm just sitting there and I'm like, this comic sucked. And then I went and looked and saw what the writer was saying about it. I'm like, you don't know nothing about being young, gifted, and black, do you? Like, do you have any black friends? Probably not. Do you have any friends from from like that background that you're saying Virgil is from? Probably not. So
That's the weird thing.
Was this set up to fail? Then I started thinking. It actually hit my mind like, okay, so hold on. So was this set up to fail? Because sometimes they do that. They like, hey, look, y'all, you want it, huh? We're gonna give it to you.
So
Just
that
put
they
our
don't have to work on it again.
yeah, we'll put our weakest people on it, so it won't do good. And it was like, hey, we gave it to you, but y'all didn't support it or didn't come see it. So I mean, I guess y'all don't like
And
it.
that's the problem.
Yeah, I'm
Like what
like,
people don't see is like there are a ton of people who love comic books and like them the way they were, and they weren't worried about agendas being pushed because the stories hit things from different angles, especially
yeah,
with the X-Men. X-Men hit things from so many different angles. You could tell so many different types of stories, and they can do that with a vast variety of these characters. The problem is, it's like I have this point. I can come after that. That's the problem. The story needs to come before. The
yeah,
story, how the characters work, how they interact, what their capabilities are, that needs to come before you decide, okay, this is a point I want to talk about with this story.
yeah. And nobody's doing that. And people, I say that to say this. I really didn't like the Nindy Direct. I just didn't. There was like two games
It
on it I liked. I just didn't
it
like them.
wasn't a lot that honestly I
Yeah.
would have been interested in
I mean,
either, but that,
it's cool.
there was some interesting stuff. It's just it wasn't the biggest thing to worry about.
Yeah, I mean, the people that made No Man's Sky, they got a okay looking game, but if they don't have a story to it,
Last
um,
campfire.
yeah, if they don't have a story to it, I'm not picking it up. Um, so other
Okay,
than that,
Hello Games, remember that.
yeah, story, story. And don't show us the same thing over and over and over again. Um, but yeah, I said all that. The whole purpose of the randomness of tonight was to get back to us talking about the Nindy Direct, which just wasn't that good. I mean,
It was okay. It wasn't
it was
bad.
okay. Yeah,
It's
it wasn't bad, but yeah,
it's just
19 minutes of yeah.
certain things just don't resonate with certain people, and that's just how it works.
Yeah, it is
So
what it
okay,
is. Yeah, I mean, hey, stuff happens. So I mean, yeah. All right, that does it for this episode. So hope you guys enjoyed our little yaunt into randomness and things
see,
of that nature.
I mean, it did just organically slide from one subject into the next.
Hmm.
Better than a Marvel story.
Yeah. So it's a shame. It's a shame that the MCU can actually get stuff right and the comics can't. But that being said, um, oh, I forgot to tell you. I forgot to tell you guys, and Andre, I forgot to tell you too, as well. There won't be a episode next Sunday. I'm going to be out of town, so we'll have one the following Sunday. I completely slipped my mind, so I do apologize for that. Anything you want to pimp out, Andre?
My Doom Crossing video that dropped.
Oh,
People should
okay.
go listen to that because I actually gave the artist for the picture credit, unlike some of the articles. But hey,
Yeah, yeah.
hey,
I
go
mean,
ahead.
hey, it is what it is. There is a couple of videos on my channel. A couple of arcade demos, Trials of Mana, and the Resident Evil 3 demo. Please check those out. Also, I will be doing a couple of Let's Talks for next week. One of them with my impressions of Darksiders Genesis, as well as the Trials of Mana demo. So be on the lookout for that, and we'll see you guys not next week, but the week after. Hopefully we'll be out of quarantine. Hopefully. So that being said, as always, Wakanda forever because you can't touch nobody. Wakanda forever.
Hug yourself.
Yeah. Fuck yourself. Peace out, people.